Everyone wants growth. Everyone wants healing. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Healing doesn't look like progress, and growth doesn't feel good. It's messy, it's painful. Take it back. And it's the reason most people quit before they actually change. What if I told you that the breakdowns, the setbacks, back, and the nights you feel stuck are not signs of failure, but the exact proof that you're on the path to becoming unrecognizable from who you used to be? When people think of healing back, they often picture it as a straight path forward, as if every day should feel lighter than the last, every step stronger, and every scar fading in perfect order. Back. But the truth is far less polished and far less predictable. Healing often feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and sometimes even like falling into the same hole you swore you climbed out of yesterday. Back. That can be confusing, especially when you expect constant upward momentum. The human mind loves neat timelines, clear milestones, and predictable outcomes, but growth doesn't play by those rules. It operates in cycles, back, like seasons that repeat with different intensity each time. Some days you feel like you've unlocked everything, only to wake up the next morning with doubts louder than ever. Back. This back and forth is not failure, it's evidence of the process itself. What nobody tells you is that this is how deep change has always worked. Think of a wound on the skin. At first, it bleeds openly, messy and raw, back, and then it begins to scab. If you watch closely, you'll notice the scab sometimes itches, sometimes cracks, sometimes even bleeds again if disturbed. Back. That doesn't mean the healing stopped. It means the body is doing its complex work in layers unseen beneath the surface. Emotional healing mirrors that same pattern. Back. Just because an old memory still hurts when touched doesn't mean you failed at moving on. It means another layer is being repaired, and sometimes that requires returning to the pain before moving past it. People get discouraged because they expect healing to feel like a clean break from the past. In reality, it feels more like waves washing over you, pulling you under some days and pushing you further ashore on others. Back. This unpredictability makes people doubt themselves when in truth, they're right on track. Growth tied to healing often feels paradoxical because it doesn't always look like growth at first glance. Back. It can show up as exhaustion, breakdowns, and moments where you question everything. Yet in hindsight, those exact moments mark turning points. Just like muscles ache after being stretched and torn in exercise, back. The trust soul aches while being rebuilt. That pain is not regression. It's the body and mind reorganizing themselves into something stronger. The mistake is believing that setbacks mean you're stuck. That the reality is that those moments are not detours, but essential steps carved into the path itself. Each return to the hurt allows you to engage it with new tools and new awareness. The cycle repeats back, but you are never the same person facing it twice. That subtle difference is the hidden proof of progress. What makes this process so hard to accept is the comparison trap. Back. We live in a culture that shows highlight reels of other people's journeys, portraying recovery and growth as quick transformations. A timeline where someone wakes up broken, takes a few steps back, and suddenly emerges shining and unshakable. But that's not the lived reality. Back. The lived reality is messy crying on the bathroom floor after thinking you were past this. It's doubting yourself in conversations where you thought you'd be confident by now. It's the cycle of hope and discouragement and trying again repeated more times than anyone posts about online. When you measure yourself against someone else's polished narrative, back. You assume your cycles mean you're failing. In truth, your cycles mean you're human. The ones who reach real transformation are not the ones who avoid falling back, but the ones who rise again each time they do. Back. The cyclical nature of healing also teaches patience, something many resist. We crave speed because discomfort feels unbearable, but rushing only leads to surface-level progress. Real transformation requires sitting in the mess long enough to let it reshape you. Like seasons, each stage has a role: the winter of grief, the spring of new beginnings, the summer of energy, back, and the autumn of reflection. You can't force winter to become spring any faster than it's meant to. The same is true with emotional wounds. If you interrupt the cycle, you rob yourself of depth. Back. What feels like repetition is often the body and mind returning to collect what was left behind. It's not inefficiency, it's thoroughness. Every revisit ensures you don't just skim over the pain, but actually learn from it. People often ask why certain memories or hurts keep resurfacing years later, even after doing so much work. Back. The answer lies in this cyclical pattern. Healing doesn't erase experiences, it changes your relationship with them. Each time the memory returns, you meet it with a slightly stronger self, a bit more resilience, back, and a new perspective. What once shattered you now bends you. What once silenced you now teaches you. This revisiting isn't punishment, it's integration. It's how life ensures the lessons stay with you. Not as open wounds, but as scars that carry wisdom. Without those reminders, the growth might remain shallow, and shallow growth cannot sustain the storms of life. The resurfacing is frustrating, yes, back, but it's also proof that you're maturing with each round. Another thing often misunderstood is how hidden much of this work really is. From the outside, back, it may look like you're repeating the same struggles without progress. But on the inside, subtle shifts are happening that will only become visible later. Like a seed under soil, nothing seems to move for weeks. But beneath the dirt, roots are forming, preparing for the breakthrough. This invisible labor is some of the most important work of all. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagram worthy, but it's foundational. When growth finally appears on the surface, it looks sudden, even miraculous, yet it was built slowly over countless unseen cycles, each one adding strength back. Dismissing those hidden seasons would be like ignoring the roots of a tree and only admiring the branches. One of the hardest parts of this cyclical process is the emotional whiplash it brings it back. One day you can feel invincible, proud of your progress, certain that the worst is behind you. The next day you may collapse into doubt, wondering if you've made any progress at all. It back. This roller coaster can be exhausting, but it's not abnormal. It's the rhythm of real healing. The danger comes when you mistake the low days for erasure the high days. Back. Progress doesn't vanish just because it isn't visible in every moment. It's cumulative, stacking quietly underneath the surface. What feels like starting over is often just continuing on the spiral upward. It back, even if the turn you're on looks familiar. Recognizing that pattern saves you from giving up when you're actually closer than you think. The cyclical nature of healing also reveals the importance of self-compassion. Back. Without it, the repeating waves of struggle can feel like unbearable failure. But when you learn to treat yourself with patience, you start to see those returns not as shameful, but as invitations. Invitations to practice, tip back, to refine, to deepen your understanding of yourself. Each cycle is not evidence that you are broken beyond repair. It's evidence that you are alive, adaptive, and still willing to grow. Back. Compassion allows you to survive the storm without believing you are the storm. It keeps you from weaponizing the process against yourself. Without compassion, cycles feel like chains. With compassion, back, they feel like classrooms. The difference lies entirely in how you choose to interpret them. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, believing it's the ultimate sign of success, peace, or happiness. Back. Comfort feels safe, predictable, and easy to manage. But when it comes to true growth, comfort is the very thing that holds you back. The truth is, every transformation requires a measure of discomfort, back, sometimes even deep pain. You cannot evolve into a stronger version of yourself by staying in the same environment that once broke you. Growth demands friction because friction creates heat, and heat creates change. Without it, nothing moves, nothing shifts, and nothing grows. People often mistake stability for healing, but stability without challenge quickly becomes stagnation. To expand it back, you must be willing to live inside discomfort long enough for it to mold you into something more resilient. Imagine a muscle being trained. It doesn't grow when it's at rest, it grows when it's under tension. Back. The small tears that happen during exercise are not signs of damage. They are the signals that the muscle is preparing to rebuild itself stronger than before. The same principle applies to personal growth. Back. Discomfort is the tension that creates the space for new strength to develop. It feels unpleasant because it disrupts the body and mind's preference for familiarity. But just as a bodybuilder embraces soreness as proof of progress, you must learn to embrace the discomfort of stretching beyond who you used to be. Every difficult conversation, every painful boundary, back, every choice that pushes you out of your safe zone is tearing the old fabric of who you were, so a stronger design can take its place. The mind often confuses safety with progress. Back. It convinces you that staying where things are easy and predictable is the best way to protect yourself from pain. But safety is not the same as healing, and ease is not the same as growth. In fact, back, staying too safe can become its own form of suffering because it silently robs you the opportunity to discover how much stronger you could be. Discomfort is not the enemy, it is the invitation. Back. The resistance you feel when you try to change is your body and mind warning you that you are stepping into new territory. That resistance is proof that something meaningful is happening. It back. Growth rarely feels good while it's happening. It feels awkward, uncertain, and vulnerable, and yet that is the only space where breakthroughs occur. Many people run from discomfort because they mistake it for danger. Back. They assume that just because it feels painful, it must mean they are going the wrong way. But discomfort is not the same as harm. Pain can be purposeful when it's tied to expansion. The anxiety of speaking your truth. Back. The fear of starting over, the heartbreak of letting go. These are not signs of destruction, but signs of creation. They carve out space where the old self can no longer fit, making room for a stronger version to emerge. Back. If you only pursue paths that feel pleasant, you will remain the same. If you are willing to endure the sting of discomfort, you will eventually outgrow who you once thought you were. That is the hidden law of growth. What makes discomfort so powerful is how it strips away illusions. In comfort, you can hide from yourself, distract yourself, and keep your wounds buried under routine. But in discomfort, everything rises to the surface. You are forced to see what you've avoided, face what you've denied, and confront the truth of who you are. This confrontation feels brutal, but it is also cleansing. Growth begins where denial ends, back, and denial only ends in the presence of discomfort. It sharpens your awareness and forces you to choose. Will you run back to what you know, or will you endure the unknown until it reshapes you? Back. Each time you choose the latter, you carve out a new capacity to handle life. The very discomfort you once feared becomes the doorway to your strength. People misunderstand growth because they expect it to be glamorous. Back. They think it will come with applause, clarity, and visible results at every step. In reality, it often looks like sleepless nights, private tears, and moments of feeling like everything is falling apart. It back, but those are the exact ingredients of transformation. Discomfort strips you bare so that what remains is real, unpolished, and solid. When you accept that growth requires discomfort, you stop chasing the illusion of ease and start embracing the necessity of challenge. That doesn't mean you invite suffering for no reason. It means you stop avoiding the discomfort that comes naturally with building something new. Without it, you only repeat old patterns disguised as progress. Every great leap forward in life has come through a season of discomfort. Learning to walk meant falling countless times. Learning to speak meant stumbling over words. Learning to love meant risking heartbreak. In every stage, discomfort was the teacher and resilience was the lesson. Yet as adults, many try to skip the classroom entirely, hoping to find growth without pain. That is why they remain stuck, circling the same lessons without ever breaking through. The truth is simple but harsh. You cannot bypass discomfort and expect transformation. The willingness to sit in it, to endure it and to work through it is what separates those who evolve from those who remain unchanged. Each season of discomfort holds the seeds of your next breakthrough. The gift of discomfort is that it teaches you adaptability. When everything is easy, you never test your limits, never stretch your capacity, never discover what you're capable of surviving. But when discomfort strikes, you are forced to bend without breaking. You find ways to keep moving forward even when it hurts. You learn patience, endurance, and resilience that cannot be taught in theory. These qualities are not born in comfort. They are forged in struggle. The very things you resent in the moment become the tools that carry you through future storms. Discomfort is the training ground where you build the strength to face life head on. Without it, you remain fragile, untested and unprepared for the challenges ahead. Choosing discomfort is also choosing authenticity. It's uncomfortable to admit you've been wrong. It's uncomfortable to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you. It's uncomfortable to set boundaries, to say no, to demand more of yourself and others. Yet these choices are what align you with your true self. Comfort keeps you trapped in patterns of pleasing others, hiding your voice, and shrinking your potential. Discomfort exposes the cost of staying small and pushes you to step into the space you were meant to fill. Each time you lean into discomfort, you reclaim a part of yourself that was buried under fear. Growth is simply the accumulation of those reclaimed parts until you stand whole, stronger than before. There is a truth most people avoid when it comes to healing. Nobody else can do it for you. People can guide, support, or inspire, but the heavy lifting will always rest on your shoulders. This is difficult to accept because it feels easier to lean entirely on someone else's wisdom or presence. Yet no mentor, therapist, or friend can step into your body, confront your fears, and change your habits. They can hold space, but they cannot transform you. Healing is a personal responsibility, not a gift that can be handed over. The sooner you accept that, the sooner your growth becomes real. Waiting for someone else to fix you will keep you waiting forever. Ownership is the only doorway to transformation. When pain is deep, take it back. It's tempting to outsource responsibility. You want someone else to carry the weight, someone else to make decisions, someone else to provide the roadmap. But no matter how detailed the map, you're the one who must walk the road. Others can point out shortcuts, warn you of potholes, or cheer you along the way, but they cannot take your steps for you. That's why healing demands courage. Courage to face the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. Courage to admit that no one else is coming to save you. The people who walk beside you matter, but they cannot substitute for your own determination. The act of moving forward belongs entirely to you. Ownership cannot be replaced, borrowed, or avoided. Taking ownership of healing also means telling yourself the truths you've been avoiding. Blaming others for everything that's gone wrong might feel comforting in the moment, but it keeps you powerless. Even if others cause some of your pain, it is still your responsibility to choose what you will do with it. Ownership does not mean excusing the harm that was done. It means refusing to let it define your future. When you stop waiting for apologies or rescues, you finally reclaim your freedom to act. This shift is uncomfortable because it demands accountability. You can no longer hide behind the excuses that once kept you safe. But this discomfort is also liberating. It hands the pen back to you, reminding you that your story is still being written. The challenge with personal ownership is that it strips away the illusion of shortcuts. People want quick fixes, magical answers, and one size fits all solutions. But healing is not a product you can buy, and growth is not a pill you can swallow. It's a process that demands consistency and honesty every single day. That means showing up for yourself even when no one is watching. It means building new habits when it's easier to stay in old ones. It means facing silence, loneliness, and uncertainty without numbing yourself with distractions. No one else can force you to do this. You can be given tools, but you must decide to use them. You can be shown doors, but you must choose to walk through them. That choice is always yours. The responsibility of healing also reveals your power. When you realize nobody else can fix you, you also realize nobody else can stop you. You no longer depend entirely on whether people support you or understand you. You stop waiting for permission and start giving it to yourself. This is where self-trust begins. Every decision you make to face your pain instead of avoiding it builds a layer of trust within you. Over time, that trust becomes unshakable. It tells you that no matter what happens, you can handle it. That power doesn't come from others. It comes from doing the work yourself. The very act of taking ownership transforms you from dependent to capable, from passive to active, from waiting to creating. Back. It's natural to seek validation when you're healing, hoping others will confirm that you're on the right path. But leaning too heavily on that validation can become another trap. Back. If you only move forward when others approve, you're still outsourcing your healing. You're still letting external voices decide your pace, your direction, and your worth. True growth comes when you no longer need constant reassurance. When you trust your own judgment enough to move even if nobody claps. When you are willing to risk misunderstanding in exchange for being authentic. Take it back. Validation from others can feel good, but it cannot replace the internal confidence built through ownership. Ownership gives you the strength to stand even when applause is absent. Owning your healing means embracing responsibility for the daily choices that shape your future. Every small action either supports your growth or delays it. Choosing to confront your fears instead of numbing them is ownership. Choosing to set boundaries instead of remaining silent is ownership. Choosing to practice patience instead of rushing the process is ownership. Back. Each choice may seem small, but together they create the momentum of transformation. Waiting for someone else to make those choices for you will keep you trapped. Back. Healing is a series of decisions repeated day after day until they become your new reality, and no one else can make them on your behalf. That's the work only you can do. Back. There's also a certain kind of loneliness that comes with ownership. When you stop waiting for others to fix you, you realize how much of the journey must be walked alone. People can support you, back, but they cannot climb inside your mind to silence the doubts. They cannot sit inside your chest to regulate your heartbeat during anxiety. They cannot rewrite the memories that haunt you. Only you can sit with yourself long enough to confront those shadows. Only you can learn how to breathe through the storm. This solitude can feel heavy at first, but it also builds intimacy with yourself. It teaches you that you are not as fragile as you once believed. Loneliness slowly transforms into resilience. What makes ownership so demanding is that it requires discipline even when emotions fluctuate. Yeah, some days you'll feel motivated, strong, and determined to keep moving. Other days you'll feel exhausted, tempted to give up, or desperate to run back to old comforts. Ownership is about continuing anyway. Back. It's about committing to the process regardless of your mood. No one else can force you to stay consistent. No one else can climb out of bed for you, face your triggers for you, or make you confront your truth. Back. This level of responsibility is intimidating, but it's also empowering. Discipline teaches you that emotions are not dictators. You can act even when you don't feel like it, and that is what builds true strength. It back. The final piece of ownership is recognizing that healing is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming honest. Ownership is not about blaming yourself for the pain you've endured. Back. It's about taking control of what you do next. It's about shifting from victimhood to authorship. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have to imprison you. Every moment you take responsibility, back. You loosen the grip of the past and tighten your hold on the future. No one else can give you that freedom. It is something you grant yourself not once, but repeatedly until it becomes the rhythm of your life. That ownership is not the easiest path, but it is the only one that leads to real, lasting growth. Growth is often mistaken for forward motion that is easy to measure, like promotions, achievements, back, or visible changes in behavior. But in truth, growth rarely looks like that in the moment. Sometimes growth looks like saying no when you used to say yes, back. Sometimes it looks like resting when the world expects you to grind. Sometimes it looks like walking away from situations that once defined your worth. From the outside, it can appear like you're doing less, back, when in reality, you're doing more for yourself than ever before. This is the paradox of growth. It doesn't always appear productive, but it is deeply transformative. The real change happens quietly, take it back, hidden in the small choices you make every day. These choices add up not in ways others can always see, but in ways you feel within. There are seasons of healing where the most courageous thing you can do is stop running. The world glorifies hustle, constant achievement, and visible progress, making stillness look like failure. But stillness can be the exact medicine your spirit requires. Rest is not laziness. It is the foundation that allows recovery to take root. If you keep moving without pause, you may look strong but remain hollow inside. Real growth comes when you give yourself permission to breathe, to slow down, and to listen to what your body and mind are saying. Rest builds capacity for future challenges. Without it, back, you will burn out before transformation takes hold. What looks like inactivity from the outside is often quiet repair happening on the inside. Letting go is another form of growth that often gets overlooked. People expect growth to mean addition, adding skills, adding achievements, adding strength. Yet sometimes the most powerful step forward is subtraction. Releasing old habits that no longer serve you, get back. Shedding relationships that drain you, and walking away from identities that keep you small are all forms of healing. These choices are rarely celebrated because they don't look glamorous. They look like endings, back, and endings are uncomfortable. But every ending creates space for a new beginning. By letting go of what no longer aligns, you create room for the life you actually want. It may not feel like progress in the moment, back, but it is one of the deepest forms of growth you can experience. Growth also hides in the quiet acts of resilience no one else notices. It hides in the moment you get out of bed when everything inside you wants to stay down. It hides in the decision to try again after failure when no one is watching. It hides in the courage to smile, to hope back, or to extend kindness even when you are hurting yourself. These small acts rarely make headlines, but they are the bricks that build your foundation. Over time, they accumulate into a strength that cannot be shaken back. Others might never see the effort behind these moments, but you will feel it back. And that inner knowing that you are showing up for yourself despite the struggle is proof of growth more valuable than external recognition. Another misunderstood aspect of healing is that it doesn't always move in straight lines. You may feel like you've conquered a challenge only for it to resurface months later. That can feel discouraging back, like you've made no progress. But what's really happening is that you're meeting the same challenge at a deeper level. This spiral pattern means each encounter teaches you something new back. Each one strengthens your resilience further. What looks like repetition is actually refinement. The fact that you are facing the challenge again doesn't mean you are failing. Back, it means life is offering you another chance to integrate the lesson more fully. Progress often disguises itself as a return to old struggles, back when in reality it is your opportunity to prove how much stronger you become. Healing also redefines what success means to you. In the beginning, success might look like pretending nothing hurts, appearing strong, back, or proving to others that you've moved on. But as growth deepens, success begins to look different. It looks like being honest about your feelings without shame. It looks like setting boundaries without guilt. Back. It looks like no longer needing to perform strength for the sake of others, but instead honoring your own truth quietly. These forms of success may not be visible to the outside world, but they create freedom within you. Back. They free you from the need to perform, from the burden of appearances, and from the weight of unrealistic expectations. That freedom is what true growth feels like. It back. One of the most powerful but invisible signs of growth is the way you treat yourself in moments of struggle. In the past, you may have responded to mistakes with harsh self-criticism back, but healing shifts that voice into compassion. Instead of punishing yourself for slipping, you begin to comfort yourself, to encourage yourself, to guide yourself forward back. This change may not look dramatic from the outside, but it transforms everything on the inside. When you can stand in your own corner, even when you're not at your best, you become unstoppable. Back, that compassion creates resilience because it removes the fear of failure. Failure no longer feels like the end. It feels like another step in the process. Back, and that change is one of the deepest forms of healing you can experience. Another layer of misunderstood growth is learning to endure silence. It back. Silence is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront yourself without distraction. In silence, you cannot hide behind noise, entertainment, or validation. You are left alone with your own thoughts, your own wounds, back, your own hopes. This confrontation is painful, which is why many avoid it. Yet silence is where true healing takes root. It's in the quiet moments where you discover clarity back, where you finally hear what your heart has been whispering all along. Sitting with silence is not easy, but it is necessary. It is in those still spaces that you stop running and finally start listening back. The insights born there can change the course of your life forever. What nobody understands about healing is that it rarely makes sense while you're in the middle of it. It feels confusing, inconsistent, back, and sometimes unbearable. You may not notice the shifts happening day by day because growth is often too subtle to measure in real time. But when you look back months or years later, back, you realize the person you've become is unrecognizable from the one you used to be. That realization is the evidence that the messy, quiet, and unglamorous work was worth it. Back. Healing doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It reveals itself in hindsight. It reveals itself in the way you respond differently, the way you carry yourself, and the way you choose peace over chaos. Back. That is the proof of transformation, even when you couldn't see it happening. The truth about healing and growth is that they don't always look like progress from the outside. They look like pauses, endings, back, and quiet acts of resilience that others might dismiss. But these are the very moments where the deepest changes take root. Growth is not always about speed, productivity, or outward achievement. Back. It is about the internal shifts that prepare you for a new chapter. It is about reclaiming your strength, redefining your worth, and aligning with your true self. Healing is the work no one applauds, but everyone eventually notices in who you become. And when you finally recognize that growth doesn't need to be loud to be real, you understand that you've been transforming all along.